Good evening. It's 10 past 10 and the picture is becoming clearer and clearer. It's a hung parliament that we are heading for. Let's look at the headlines at this hour. The Congress is ahead in 181 out of 389 seats, just under halfway. It's a close fight in all the seats in Delhi. Congress sweeps the south, but not Andhra Pradesh. Gundu Rao, former chief minister, is trailing, and Jayalalitha is ahead in both her assembly seats.
इस कार्यक्रम के मुख्य समाचार इस प्रकार हैं। कांग्रेस आए 386 में से 181 सीटों पर आगे। दिल्ली की सभी सीटों पर कांटे की टक्कर। आंध्र प्रदेश को छोड़कर पूरे दक्षिण में कांग्रेस का उभार। भूतपूर्व मुख्यमंत्री कर्नाटक के श्री गुंडू राव पीछे चल रहे हैं और सुश्री जयललिता अपने विधानसभा क्षेत्र में आगे चल रही हैं। Let's have a detailed look at the
Yes, we've got results at the moment, and we can have a look at, we've been talking about leads all evening. Now let's have a look at some firm figures that have come in. These are actual final results, but they're only for 56 out of 511 seats. Now of these 56, the Congress has won 40. It was surging ahead at the beginning of the leads as well, up 15 since last time. Next is the BJP with 15 MPs in the next Lok Sabha. These are final results, and others won. But in leadings at the moment, it's 389 seats out of 511. The Congress has got 181, as we just mentioned. The BJP is coming next with 90. That's up 14 since last time. The Janata Dal 39, trailing quite far behind, 56 down since the last elections. CPM's got 23, down 2. The AIDMK, part of the southern sweep in Tamil Nadu, 11. And others 45, which consist of the Telugu Desam with 9. The CPI with 9, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha now 5, RSP in Bengal 2, BSP 1, and making a total of 45 for others.
पहले अखिल भारत के
But
परिणाम.
one second, what does all this mean, Vinod, in terms of the final figure? At the moment, we have a tentative projection to looking ahead of the rest of the evening. It looks as though Congress plus its allies is going to be about 225. That's Congress at about 210 and about 15 seats for allies. The left front is heading for around 50 seats. The BJP somewhere between 115 and 120, the largest opposition party, and the National Front somewhere between 80 and 90. That's the kind of look that the Lok Sabha is heading for, and it's certainly going to be difficult for any single party now to form a majority. So it is a kind of hung parliament that we're heading for.
शंकु संसद, पहले परिणाम, उसके बाद रुझान। परिणाम इस प्रकार हैं, 511 में से 56 क्षेत्रों से परिणाम आ चुके हैं, जिसमें कांग्रेस को 40 स्थानों पर विजय हासिल हुई है और पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले उन्हें 15 स्थानों का फायदा हुआ है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी को 15 स्थान पर विजय हासिल हुई है और पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले 1 स्थान का नुकसान है और अन्य 1 स्थान पर विजय प्राप्त हुई है। और अब जो रुझान है, जो ट्रेंड्स हैं, वो इस प्रकार हैं। 511 में से 389 स्थानों की सूचना हमारे पास है। उसके मुताबिक कांग्रेस 181 स्थान पर आगे है और 32 स्थान का फायदा है पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले। भारतीय जनता पार्टी 90 स्थानों पर आगे है और उन्हें 4 स्थान का फायदा है। जनता दल 39 स्थान पर आगे है और 56 स्थान का नुकसान है पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले। कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी मार्क्सिस्ट 23 स्थान पर आगे है और 2 स्थान का नुकसान है। अन्ना डीएमके 11 स्थानों पर आगे और किसी भी स्थान का फायदा या नुकसान नहीं है और अन्य 45 स्थान पर आगे हैं और 12 स्थान का फायदा है। और जो प्रोजेक्शन है, जो भविष्यवाणी तो नहीं हम इसे कह सकते, लेकिन जो तस्वीर उभर कर सामने आ रही है, इस कार्यक्रम के मुताबिक स्थिति इस प्रकार होगी कि कांग्रेस को सहयोगियों समेत 225 सीटें मिलेगी। 210 सीट कांग्रेस को मिलेगी और 15 सीट कांग्रेस के सहयोगियों को मिलेंगी। लेफ्ट फ्रंट को, वाम मोर्चे को 50 सीट मिलेंगी। भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक विपक्षी दल के रूप में, प्रमुख विपक्षी दल के रूप में उभरेगी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी को 115 से लेकर 120 तक सीट मिलेगी और नेशनल फ्रंट को, राष्ट्रीय मोर्चे को 80 से 90 के बीच सीट मिलेगी। हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में हैं डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष। आपका स्वागत है जोशी जी। पहला सवाल आपसे छोटा सा ये है कि राम लहर अपना असर उतना क्यों नहीं दिखा पाए जितना आपको उम्मीद थी?
देखिए, राम के प्रश्न ने देश को बहुत प्रभावित किया और मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि हमारे इस मुद्दे के उभार ने प्रतिपक्षियों को इतना घबरा दिया कि उनमें से बहुतों ने अपने मतों का स्थानांतरण कर दिया। अगर आप उत्तर प्रदेश के परिणाम देखें, कर्नाटक के परिणाम देखें, गुजरात के परिणाम देखें, तो आपको पता लगेगा कि हमारे मुद्दों को इस क्षेत्र की जनता ने प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ समर्थन किया है। बंगाल में हमारा प्रभाव बढ़ा है और बाकी भी क्षेत्रों में हमने सब दलों को पीछे पछाड़ा है, कांग्रेस के अलावा। कांग्रेस भी न आगे बढ़ती होती अगर कुछ क्षेत्रों में उसे प्रतिपक्षियों ने अपने वोट ट्रांसफ़र न किए।
यदि यही बात थी तो फिर चुनाव के दूसरे चरण में आपने राम का नाम छोड़कर स्थिरता का मुद्दा क्यों अपनाया?
नहीं, हमने न राम का नाम छोड़ा और न स्थिरता का कोई नया मुद्दा जोड़ा। हम तो शुरू से ही देश की एकता, अखंडता, देश की पहचान, और हम ये कहते चले आ रहे थे कि अगर देश को एक और अखंड रखना है तो उसको देश की पहचान के साथ जोड़ना पड़ेगा। बिना देश को ठीक से पहचाने आप अखंड रखेंगे किस चीज़ को, स्थिरता लाएंगे किस में? इसलिए राम का मुद्दा देश की पहचान और अखंडता दोनों को स्थापित करता था।
So Joshi, while we'll be looking ahead of what's going to happen, I want to take you back one step to the campaign. And we've really seen two sides of the BJP there. We've seen the moderate face, which is represented by you, Mr. Advani, Mr. Vajpayee, and which we've basically seen on most of the front pages of the papers and the press. And it's a face that's talking about a unified India, etc. But there's also been a virulent face. If you go down to the campaign level, go down to the villages and go and watch them and follow some of the other leaders, local leaders, it's been a very virulent campaign. Can you be accused of a sin of omission, if not commission? You have not ever really had a very strident campaign yourself, in not stopping these people, in not condemning them from going a little over the top.
No, you see that we have always been asking our workers only to project the ideology of the BJP. We have never supported any virulent campaign. Rather, if you would notice that Mr. Advani, Mr. Vajpayee and myself and even other senior leaders have always been giving a moderate tone to our campaign.
Yes.
Now you see that when local issues are warmed up and certain incidents take place in certain places, they have a past history, the hangovers. And maybe that in one or two places there could have been some very virulent attacks and virulent campaigns.
I think a little more than one or two places, and I still would just urge you to one step forward in the sense that you never really came out. I agree that yours was a very moderate campaign, but it was never a condemnation of some of these virulent things, which was quite widespread.
No, but you see, nobody complained to us about the BJP workers or leaders going virulent.
Okay, supporters of BJP, sir?
Well, I can't vouch for all the supporters. Well, there can be persons who have been virulent on all sides. But you see, there have been accusations by Janata Dal leaders of all sorts of accusations against us.
If somebody did come with evidence, you would come out and condemn.
Oh, yes, we would. Yes, but you see, I was surprised when chief ministers were campaigning and openly saying that they will break the bones and chop the hands and feet of a particular candidate. Nobody condemned. Nobody. It is the virulent campaign. Yeah. You see, the fastest techniques applied by other political parties have need much more condemnation.
It should be condemned all around, basically.
All around. Yes.
मध्य प्रदेश में आपकी पार्टी को जन समर्थन न मिलने का कारण क्या है, जोशी जी?
देखिए, अभी तो वैसे पूरे परिणाम, पूरा अंतिम काउंट तो हुआ नहीं, तो भी अगर ये मान भी लिया जाए कि यही रुझान चलेगा, तो उसका एक सीधा सा कारण ये है कि हमारे प्रभाव को बढ़ते हुए देखकर कई राज्यों में हमारे प्रतिपक्षियों ने वोट्स को शिफ्ट किया है। अगर आप ये देखें कि एक प्रचार ये किया जा रहा था कि हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ना तो सत्ता में आने देंगे और ना ही उसे प्रमुख विरोधी दल बनने देंगे, तो इसलिए जहाँ जहाँ उन्हें दिखाई दिया कि सत्ता में आ रही है और अगर वो कर सके तो उन्होंने अपने वोटों को शिफ्ट किया है। ये घटना मध्य प्रदेश में साफ दिखाई देती है, क्योंकि वहाँ जनता दल वैसे भी बहुत कम था, लेकिन थोड़ा सा भी वोट शिफ्ट कर देने से सीट में फ़र्क पड़ जाता है।
हिमाचल में भी ऐसे हुआ?
अभी 2 सीटों पर तो हिमाचल में हमारी बढ़त है ही
जी, लेकिन 2 पर नहीं है।
2 पर नहीं है, उसका भी अंत में देखना ही पड़ेगा क्या परिणाम है। और एक सीट तो उसमें ऐसी है जहाँ जनता दल का वोट सब्सटेंशियल रहा करता था, और वो अगर शिफ्ट हो जाए तो फिर क्योंकि आप जानते हैं कि थोड़ा सा 1% वोट शिफ्ट होने से 15-16 सीटें कांग्रेस को मिल जाती हैं। ये कांग्रेस का रिकॉर्ड रहा है।
एक छोटा सा सवाल, आप कहीं पर भी थोड़ा सा भी मानने को तैयार होंगे कि मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान और हिमाचल में शायद सरकार से नाराजगी रही हो वोटर की?
मैं नहीं समझता कि इन राज्यों में कोई प्रादेशिक सरकारों की क्रियाकलाप कोई इशू थे। स्थानीय कोई किसी से नाराज़गी हो एक अलग बात है, लेकिन कोई बड़े पैमाने पर इन चुनावों में स्थानीय सरकारों की परफॉर्मेंस पर कोई वोट नहीं था।
Okay, let's thank you very much. We'll come back to you because we just want to go south and look at the situation in Tamil Nadu. The leadings position at the moment there is as follows. We have leadings in 38 out of 39 seats, and it's a complete rout of the DMK. The Congress I has got 26, exactly the same as last time, and the AIDMK 11, and the CPI 1. The CPI is leading in 1 at the moment, but basically it's a sweep both at the Assembly and at the Lok Sabha level for the Congress I AIDMK front. But let's go down to Jennifer Arul in Madras and see if Jayalalitha is there.
From the OB spot at Madras, we bring you this very exclusive interview with Ms. Jayalalitha of the AIADMK.
Madam, what is your reaction to the results?
Well, according to the information that I have received so far, our AIADMK candidates and the candidates of our allied parties are now leading in more than 222 assembly constituencies and in all the 39 Lok Sabha constituencies in the state. I traversed the length and breadth of Tamil Nadu throughout my campaign, covering a distance of more than 7,346 kilometers. And I must say that I'm unable to find words to adequately express my gratitude to the voters of Tamil Nadu, especially the women who turned out in large numbers to exercise their franchise and who have given us their unstinted support.
After Rajiv Gandhi assassination, can you tell me what do you think is going to be your party's reaction? What is going to be your relationship between the Congress I both here in the state as well as at the center?
It was Mr. Rajiv Gandhi's dream to create a strong and united India and to take India into the 21st century. And so, there is no change in our policy. We will offer our fullest cooperation to any measures that are taken to fulfill Mr. Rajiv Gandhi's dream.
Your party justified the dissolution of the former Tamil Nadu Assembly because of a worsening law and order situation in the state. Now, as the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, how are you going to handle this situation?
As to who the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu is going to be, I think this is rather premature, since all the results are yet to come in. However, regarding your question about the dismissal of the previous DMK government, I think the dismissal is more than vindicated by the results that are pouring in now. The people have shown in no uncertain terms that they wanted the DMK government to go. And it is quite obvious from the trend now that is evident everywhere in the state that the people are most happy that the DMK government was dismissed. Regarding your question about the law and order situation, I have explained time and again in my earlier interviews and statements that the law and order problem that exists in other states is quite different from the problem that existed in Tamil Nadu. Here it was a question of anti-national activities encouraged by the state government, and the encouragement that was given to the illegal anti-national activities of a foreign-based militant group. So, it is impossible to compare the situation that existed in Tamil Nadu with the situation, law and order situation in other states. Now, as to what we are going to do about the situation in future, was that your question? Yes. I think we have to draw a line of distinction between the Sri Lankan refugees and the Sri Lankan militants. Since the law and order problem that existed in the state and still exists was entirely because of the militant activity in the state. There is no doubt that there has got to be a firm crackdown on all militant activity in Tamil Nadu. But we want to differentiate between the refugees and the militants. The refugees will be given all assistance and refuge and shelter, and we will do everything possible to rehabilitate them. There is absolutely no change in that policy. But as far as the militants are concerned, they have to lay down arms, and I think the only possible solution is to see that all the militants are sent back to Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jayalalitha. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Arul, handing you back to New Delhi.
तमिलनाडु में 39 लोकसभा निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में से 38 की जो सूचना हमारे पास उपलब्ध है उसके मुताबिक कांग्रेस 26 स्थानों पर आगे और पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले उन्हें किसी भी स्थान का फायदा या नुकसान नहीं है। अन्ना डीएमके 11 स्थानों पर आगे है और किसी भी स्थान का फायदा या नुकसान नहीं है। कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया 1 स्थान पर आगे है। हमारी संवाददाता जेनिफर अरुल ने सुश्री जयललिता से बात की मद्रास में। उनका ये कहना था कि श्री राजीव गांधी का सपना था अखंड और मजबूत भारत, और अन्ना डीएमके कांग्रेस आई को पूरा समर्थन देती रहेगी इस सपने को पूरा करने के लिए। तमिलनाडु का नया मुख्यमंत्री कौन होगा, इस पर उन्होंने अभी कुछ नहीं कहा। ये कहा कि अभी ये बहुत जल्दी होगा कहना कि कौन होगा मुख्यमंत्री। फिर भी डीएमके सरकार की बर्खास्तगी इस चुनाव के परिणामों से सही साबित हुई है, क्योंकि लोग चाहते थे कि डीएमके की सरकार न रहे। कानून और व्यवस्था के बारे में सुश्री जयललिता का ये कहना था कि तमिलनाडु में कानून और व्यवस्था की जो स्थिति है वो भारत के अन्य राज्यों से भिन्न है। यहाँ पर राष्ट्र विरोधी गतिविधियों को पुरानी राज्य सरकार ने तरजीह दी, बढ़ावा दिया, और शरणार्थियों और उग्रवादियों के बीच के फर्क को समझना होगा। शरणार्थियों को मदद दी जाएगी और उग्रवादियों को हथियार डालने होंगे और वापस जाना होगा। मैं एक बार फिर इस नए पैनल से आपकी मुलाकात करवाऊं। हमारे स्टूडियो में जो मेहमान है इस वक्त, डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष, शुरू से ही हमारे साथ हैं इस कार्यक्रम में। श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी, कांग्रेस आई के प्रवक्ता, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी मार्क्सिस्ट के श्री हरकिशन सिंह सुरजीत, और जनता दल के श्री अजीत सिंह। आपका स्वागत सबका बहुत बहुत। Pranab, why don't you lead the discussion?
Thank you very much for joining us. We just had made a projection of what the eventual outcome is going to be like, and it looks as though it's going to be a hung parliament. We had said that the Congress I would, plus its allies, would get about 225 seats, with the Congress around 210. It doesn't look as though it can possibly go beyond that. So eventually it's going to be about 30 seats short of a majority at the moment. Now, Mr. Ajit Singh and Mr. Surjit, obviously the Congress I is going to be looking to both of you with a great deal of interest, unlike you've ever seen before, I'm sure, because they need allies, need support to form a government. Starting with you, Mr. Ajit Singh. Any chance of you thinking about, or have you got major reservations about supporting the Congress?
Well, one thing is clear, as you said, that no party would have absolute majority. And another thing that's clear is that we cannot go back to public for another election. So some government has to be formed. But first let's see what the results are exactly tomorrow. Let's see what Congress, who they elect, what the internal situation is, what they propose to do.
Mr. Surjit, what will the position of the left be?
You see, we would like to wait for the total results to come. So far we are concerned, we would prefer to sit in opposition. Our position has been earlier too, on common issues of common concern, concerning national unity, foreign policy, struggle against criminalism, in defense of secularism. We are prepared to render any positive support to any government. We will not create any difficulty, because the situation in the country is such that we would not like to instability to continue. Any situation of instability will be very harmful for India. But final thing can be said only after the full results come. Let us wait for it, how many seats come, it is your calculations now.
Is this, Mr. Mukherjee, is this music to your ears? Because neither of them has said no. It looks as though they're softening their stand, if I might say.
At least one improvement is there, that days of anti-Congressism is no longer very much prevalent. And I will agree with both Mr. Surjit and Mr. Ajit Singh that perhaps we cannot afford to have one more election quickly. This is one of the reasons why Congress I repeatedly appealed to the electorate to give a decisive mandate, so that we can remove uncertainties and instabilities. However, what would be the ultimate picture? It is just not possible to indicate. Congress Working Committee is to meet and take a final view, and when the full results will be available, perhaps by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, it would be possible to indicate what course of action could be taken.
My question to you, Mr. Mukherjee, is what do you think should be the procedure for electing the CPP leader? By consensus or by secret ballot? Are you in favor of a secret ballot?
There is no question of individual preference. It is for the members to decide what modality they would like to have. If you look at the history of the election of leader of the Congress Parliamentary Party, if I remember correctly, only once there was a contest, and it was done through secret ballot. That was in 1966. when there was a contest between Mrs. Gandhi and Morarji Bhai.
Mr. Sujit, will your party join the government or support it from outside in the case of Ahang Parliament, where you have to give support to a party?
We would like to sit in the opposition. I would not, you see, there
In
is
other
no
words, you'd like to
question.
see a minority government ruling, but supporting from
Let
issue
us
to
see
issue.
minority or what, because the government may not be in minority. Let us see what shape it takes. But we would have preferred to sit in opposition and take a positive attitude from issue to issue, as I have stated.
Mr. Joshi, have you done the one thing which a lot of other individuals could not do? As the BJP, have you united all because they all have one common factor. The BJP seems to be the main opposition to the three individuals sitting on your left.
Yes, that has been the general scenario all through the elections. And the mandate is for us not to form the government. So we'll obey the mandate.
So you are resigned now to sitting in the opposition.
No, we are the opposition.
No, and throughout the campaign you've been saying we will form
Yes,
the
we
government,
but
we
you
will
see
get a
the
majority.
people,
So we
unless we were
overestimated.
given absolute majority, we will not form the government.
But did you overestimate your strength in that case?
No, we didn't. It was because of certain shifts in the voting patterns. Some of the parties shifted their votes to Congress I. Therefore, this has happened.
Couldn't you foresee these shifts earlier?
No, we were foreseeing, but we thought that the electorate would see through the game. And certainly in certain states, they saw through the game.
We have some information from Andhra Pradesh. Before going there, let's have a look at the current leadings position in Andhra Pradesh. We have leadings in 17 out of 41 seats so far, because counting for the second phase of voting will only start tomorrow. Of those 17, the Telugu Desam is in the lead. In fact, it's got 9. That's up 8 since last time. The Congress I is leading in only 4, down 11. BJP is up on 2, they're leading in 2. The CPM is leading in 1. And the CPI is leading in 1. Now let's go across to Sanjeev Thomas, who's waiting in Hyderabad.
The situation in Andhra Pradesh is not very much different from what was there in the afternoon. The TDP is doing very well. Our guests for the evening are the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. N. Janardhan Reddy, and Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, the candidate from Kadapa constituency, election for which was countermanded following the death of an independent candidate day before yesterday. Mr. Chief Minister, why do you think the Congress has lost the entire coastal Andhra belt?
No, it's not correct. I mean, only few seats, certain pockets will ask. Coastal belt, we are winning in certain places. For example, Tenali, Bapatla, Ongole, Nellore.
No, but I asked you the central coastal belt.
Oh, central coastal belt. Yeah. See, I was having some doubt about last-minute adjustments of the opposition parties. It has come true. I understand. When we look at the voting pattern now, it's going on. In one place, BJP has got more, and another place, it is not even 1/10. Through that, we can understand some understanding, a last-minute understanding is there in certain areas. Not a party as such, perhaps individual.
Do you think that's why you lost? What is your prediction for tomorrow's 24 seats?
Well, we will be doing very well.
How many do you think will win?
Or not less than 22.
Out of the 24. Why is there an increase of political violence in Andhra Pradesh for the last several years?
What is the reason for you to talk? No violence, no.
There has been a large number of political deaths, especially during elections.
Last time that were 30 deaths and 600 booths were asked to go for repoll. This time it's only 3 deaths and 180 something like that. And compared to that, it's nothing. And violence in general in the state is because from 1984, Telugu Desam party has brought in violence.
Yeah, but before. Dr. Reddy, why is it that Kadapa constituency has always been so violent?
No, the cult of violence in Andhra Pradesh has started from Mr. N.T. Ramarao. Since Ramarao came to power, can you imagine a chief minister asking his party men to take lathis and sticks and beat congressmen who come across? I mean, he just doesn't believe in maintaining law and order through administration.
No, but I was asking about Kadapa.
Yes, Kadapa in particular was having violence earlier. In the last election, during the regime of Telugu Desam, in this particular parliament segment itself, there were nearly 22 deaths. But now, this year, there is absolutely none, except the one which was indulged by Telugu Desam in getting, just to get the election countermanded.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
And I
Reddy.
tell you,
Yeah, anyway, I have to wind up because Delhi is asking. Thank you, both of you. That's all from Hyderabad. This is Sanjeev Thomas handing you over back to Delhi.
आंध्र प्रदेश में 41 लोकसभा निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में से 17 की जो सूचना हमारे पास है उसके मुताबिक तेलुगु देशम 9 स्थानों पर आगे है और उसे पिछले चुनाव के मुकाबले 8 स्थान का फायदा है। कांग्रेस 4 स्थान पर आगे है और उसे 11 स्थान का नुकसान है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी 2 स्थान पर आगे है और उसे 2 ही स्थान का फायदा है। कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी मार्क्सिस्ट 1 स्थान पर आगे है और 1 स्थान का फायदा है। कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया 1 स्थान पर आगे है और 1 स्थान का फायदा है। हमारे संवाददाता संजीव थॉमस ने आंध्र प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री श्री जनार्दन रेड्डी से बातचीत की। श्री रेड्डी का ये मानना है कि समुद्र किनारे के इलाके, थोड़े से इलाकों में कांग्रेस कमज़ोर हुई है, लेकिन इसकी वजह यह है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने आखिरी मौके पर इलेक्टोरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग की, लिहाजा वोट शिफ्ट हुआ। कल जो मतगणना होगी 24 सीटों के लिए, उसमें श्री रेड्डी को विश्वास है कि 22 सीटें उन्हीं की आएंगी। हिंसा के मामले में श्री रेड्डी का ये मानना है कि पिछली दफे के चुनावों में 30 लोग मारे गए थे, इस दफे 3 लोग मारे गए, लिहाजा पिछले बार के मुकाबले इस दफे हिंसा कम हुई है। कडप्पा चुनाव क्षेत्र से जो प्रत्याशी हैं डॉक्टर रेड्डी, उनका ये मानना है कि हिंसा की वजह श्री रामाराव की पार्टी तेलुगु देशम है और कडप्पा में पहले भी हिंसा हुई थी, करीब 22 लोग मारे गए थे, लेकिन उसका पूरा जिम्मेदार तेलुगु देशम को मानते हैं। सुनो।
Mr. Ajit Singh, given that your party hasn't done particularly well, you must be disappointed. But I want to first talk about the SJP, which has done even worse, was formerly part of your party. When would you expect now the Prime Minister to resign or offer to resign? At which point? Would it happen any minute now? Or?
Well, that's up to him.
No, on the
but
normal
it's very obvious that his party is in no way be able to make him the Prime Minister.
And in your region in Western UP, there have been some fairly major setbacks in terms of the Janata Dal expectations, and most of the setbacks have gone to the BJP. Did you anticipate this?
We knew BJP was going to gain votes all over UP.
Happen?
See, UP situation is very peculiar. For one thing, we were associated with the government in UP for 11 months, which created an atmosphere of confrontation between two major communities there. Then after that, Congress was associated with the same government for 5 months. So what happened was that Congress vote bank also shifted to BJP. I don't think it was particularly because of any wave in favor of Ram or anything like that. It was the government which created that situation in UP.
Yes. In fact, you are probably more ideologically close to the Congress than to the BJP, wouldn't you say? Your personal and your base.
I would not say I'm close to Congress as opposed to BJP. I'll say that it's opposed to BJP.
But does that make you closer to the Congress? And say, do you have some major ideological differences?
Well, if you look at the manifestos, most parties say the same thing. But there are definite differences in
actually
the.
What I'm trying to
yes,
get
I'm talking ideology.
What I'm trying to get at is if they asked you to support them, because they do need support to form a government, what, say, one particular major point would you insist on before offering that support?
Well, social equity is one issue on which we fought this election.
So you'd insist on social equity. Does that mean you would insist on the implementation of the Mandal Commission report, and that's enough for you? Would that be
That's
enough?
not enough.
That
That's
would be
one of the issues. Yes.
Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, would you accept that as a condition?
I would like to point out that so far the question of social equity is concerned, Congress party does not lag behind, and in fact, since independence we have tried to.
No, but I think he's specifically talking about the Mandal Commission.
We have done that, and even the reservation in job for the backward communities, it was being done in some of the Congress-run states in South. And even in our manifesto, we have accepted reservation as an instrument of improving the conditions of the backward communities. But we do never consider that this is the only instrument through which we can provide social equity. There are many other things, more things are to be done.
But you haven't still answered the question actually. Would you accept that as a condition?
I think I have answered the question. So for the formation of the government, you will have to take into note not merely one or two issues, but what would be the pattern of the government. And as Congress Working Committee is to meet and finalize their approach, it would be too premature for me to make any comment.
There seems to be consensus emerging already on our panel about formation of the next government. What will prevent you, Mr. Sujit, from extending support to the Congress side?
You see, you know, we have got a lot of difference with the Congress, and we have been fighting, and where we are there, we have been big confrontation with the Congress. They don't hesitate to join even with the BJP to fight against us. They have combined with all the criminal and caste forces in Kerala only to deprive the Left Democratic Front to coming into power. Similarly, what they have done in Tripura is well known. They did not allow the elections to be held. So these things, the danger of these tendencies, authoritarian, which we have seen during the emergency days, are there before us. We would like to judge what type of attitude they are going to take on these issues, and on the basis of that decide. So it is not an easy task for us to come to the conclusion to support and now not to support, and all this thing is concerned. Our Central Committee is meeting on 21st and 22nd to assess the situation, because we don't want instability to continue in the country, and situation is pretty bad on all the fronts. So that is why we will consider all the situation. As the situation arises, we will have delight upon it, and we will take a decision on that.
What are the likely conditions to be put forth to the Congress side in order to extend support to them?
I don't want to be drawn into that. You see, the question of conditions come when I take a decision.
We want to draw you into it.
That's what I am saying. At the moment, I am not able to be drawn into this conditions, because once you talk to conditions, then you presuppose my agreement to support the Congress. I told you
but
that
you don't have very much time now. It's literally 24 hours.
We will prefer to sit in the opposition and take our stand from issue to issue.
For how long do you think the Parliament can go on meeting without a Prime Minister?
No, Parliament will have to meet, and the Prime Minister will be there. No, that it cannot be delayed. Only in 2-3 days, immediately after the audit, in 1-2 days, you have to have a new Prime Minister already. Havoc is being played with the people, because here is a government which doesn't command confidence of anybody. Even 10 people in the new elected Parliament will not be there to support them. So that is why a new Prime Minister is required immediately. That is true.
We want, in fact, to look from the state, look at the state which has provided a lot of the Prime Ministers in the past. I don't know whether it will this time. And that's UP, where, Mr. Joshi, your party is doing remarkably well. In fact, it looks as though it's almost certainly going to form the government there for the first time in its history, and also get a majority of seats in UP, though that's not clear. I'm sure Mr. Ajit Singh would like to contest that at this stage. But most of our projections show that it's a neck and neck race between the Janata Dal and the BJP. What do you attribute this to? Why is it happening?
Well, in UP, first and foremost reason for this support to the BJP is total disillusionment from what the predecessor governments did there. Number two, the type of government which Mr. Mulayam Singh headed. He indulged in all sorts of violations of fundamental rights. He denied the normal cultural rights and religious rights to the people, and committed all sorts of atrocities. And so the people were in a rebellious mood. And then you see the very fact that they were not allowed to construct the temple for which the people of Uttar Pradesh were struggling hard for such a long time.
Right. Let's have can I just interrupt you there, because we'll go across to UP and then we'll come back to you on exactly so that you can put that in the perspective. We've got the leadings position for 49 out of 82 seats in UP, and the position at the moment is as follows. The BJP is currently the leading party in UP, 29 out of 14. That's more than 50% of the seats there so far, up 23 seats since last time. The Janata Dal 16, that's down 14 since last time, a disappointing result for the Janata Dal. SJP is picking up 2 seats, up 2. And the Congress side at the moment is leading in only 1 seat out of 49. And the CPI has also picked up 1 seat in UP. Now let's go across to Allahabad to get a further update of the situation in Uttar Pradesh.
यहाँ इलाहाबाद में 3 लोकसभा क्षेत्रों में से एक में भारतीय जनता पार्टी और 2 में जनता दल के उम्मीदवार आगे चल रहे हैं। 14 विधानसभा क्षेत्रों की गिनती भी यहाँ हो रही है। उनमें से 7 में जनता दल, 6 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी और 1 में निर्दलीय उम्मीदवार आगे चल रहे हैं। इस बीच हमारे साथ हैं श्री अनिल शास्त्री, जो कांग्रेस आई के उम्मीदवार हैं इलाहाबाद से और फिलहाल तीसरे स्थान पर चल रहे हैं, और श्री श्यामाचरण गुप्ता, जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के उम्मीदवार हैं इलाहाबाद से और पहला स्थान पर चल रहे हैं। श्यामाचरण जी, यह आमतौर से समाजवादियों और कांग्रेस को सीट जाती रही है, इस बार आपके आगे चलने की क्या वजह है?
ये तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का अपना सिद्धांत और उसकी नीतियों को जनता के द्वारा पसंद करना है, और साथ साथ मेरा अपना खुद का यहाँ पर प्रत्याशी बनना इसमें भी महत्वपूर्ण रहा है।
ये कहा जा रहा है कि आपने बेतहाशा पैसा खर्च किया है इस इलेक्शन में और जो ये वाला इलाहाबाद की दीवारों पर दिखता भी है।
नहीं, ये सब बातें गलत है। ये तो कांग्रेस वालों से पूछे कि उन्होंने कितना पैसा खर्चा किया है।
इस पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
अब ये तो जनता जानती है कि कितना पैसा किसने खर्च किया है। अब इस समय वो बहस का समय नहीं है और जो स्थिति इस समय इलाहाबाद में है वो करीब करीब सभी तरफ उत्तर प्रदेश में है।
अच्छा, इलाहाबाद में आपके पिछड़ने की वजह और उत्तर प्रदेश में कांग्रेस के इतना पीछे जाने की वजह क्या है?
मैं समझता हूँ कि मुलायम सिंह सरकार जो बिल्कुल डिस्क्रेडिट हो चुकी थी, उसको कांग्रेस पार्टी द्वारा समर्थन देना हम लोगों के लिए घातक साबित हुआ है और जितनी भी बुराई मुलायम सिंह सरकार को मिलनी थी हम लोगों के समर्थन की वजह से, क्योंकि हम लोग भी समर्थक थे, उसकी सारी बुराइयां हम लोगों को मिली और इसका फ़ायदा भाजपा को मिला है।
धन्यवाद। और इसके साथ ही हम पहले रिजल्ट का इंतजार करते हुए आपको वापस नई दिल्ली लिए चलते हैं।
82 लोकसभा क्षेत्रों में से 49 की जो सूचना हमारे पास उपलब्ध है उसके मुताबिक भारतीय जनता पार्टी उत्तर प्रदेश में सबसे बड़े दल के रूप में उभर रही है और वो 29 स्थानों पर आगे है, यानी पिछले चुनाव परिणामों के मुकाबले उन्हें 23 स्थान का फायदा हो रहा है। जनता दल दूसरे नंबर पर है उत्तर प्रदेश में, उसे 16 स्थानों पर आगे है और 14 स्थान का नुकसान हो रहा है। समाजवादी जनता पार्टी 2 स्थान पर आगे है और 2 स्थान का फायदा हो रहा है। कांग्रेस आए पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश में सिर्फ 1 स्थान पर आगे है और उन्हें 8 स्थान का नुकसान हो रहा है। कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया 1 स्थान पर आगे है और किसी भी स्थान पर फायदा या नुकसान नहीं हो रहा है। Mr. Shamacharan Gupta of BJP, who is contesting on a BJP ticket from Allahabad, says that it's a belief in the principles and policies of BJP that he's leading in Allahabad. And when asked that how much money did he spend in the campaign, because it was widely believed that BJP spent a lot of money in the campaign, he said, ask Congress I as to how much money have they spent. Mr. Anil Shastri of Congress I says that support to Mulayam Singh Yadav's discredited government has proved to be fatal for Congress I.
You know, I'd like to ask one question of all the panelists. Is it an election where everybody is a little unhappy, that everybody feels thought they were doing better and have ended up slightly worse? The BJP thought they might form a government, they're nowhere near that. The Congress thought they might form a majority, they will not reach there. CPM has not done well in Kerala, and certainly the Janata Dal has been the biggest loser so far. Mr. Joshi, are you slightly disappointed?
I agree that there is need to improve our performance. But anyway, I wouldn't say that I'm completely dissatisfied, because we have gained in inroads, deep inroads in South, you see, and we have increased a large percentage of our votes, and we have given a message to the country, given an awakening to the country.
Did you raise expectations too high?
Well, you see, as I told you earlier, that we expected to form a government provided the anti-BJP vote remained divided. Since they united in certain states, the results are there.
It is true we wanted to have clear mandate and decisive one from the electorate, and as it seems it may not be available to us. But in one point I would like to clarify. Repeatedly it is being said that non-BJP vote has been divided among the parties, that's why BJP is doing so not up to the expectation, and Mr. Surjit even have pointed out that we supported BJP in Kerala. I would like to keep the record straight. In the history of election of this country, twice the leftists supported and rather fought election in alliance, first with Jansang, then a constituent of Janata Party in 1977, and again in 1989 they entered into electoral adjustments with BJP through VPC. And one more point I would
I'd like to actually get an immediate reaction from Mr. Surjit to that, because that directly affects him.
One more point I would like
We'll come back to your point.
You see, Pranab Mukherjee knows that we had no understanding with BJP 89, and BJP also knows. In fact, it is only we were objecting to the Janata Dal coming to an understanding with BJP even at that time, because we were seeing the danger arising out of the communal appeal to secularism and national unity. So for other things is concerned, that cannot be questioned, because I'll give you the figures when it comes to me. First, let him conclude. So for Kerala is concerned, I'll answer what has happened there.
Mr. Ajit Singh, you've been very quiet. What's the mood in the Janata Dal headquarters, and is it despondent? You seem rather reluctant, introspective, I should say.
No, that's not the point. See, your question just you asked was about the election results.
Yes.
Election results have been disappointing to all the parties, and there are no trends discernible this time. Different regions have voted different ways.
Quite true.
And there is no wave even for Ram or Mandal or anything. Like South, Congress has gained, but they have been wiped out in the North. They have lost voting percentage even in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, where they have won more seats. So the election results have been disappointing. And even in a state, different regions have voted differently.
Can we just go across and come back to, go to the Janata Dal headquarters to see what the mood is over there and see if it
Certainly.
matches yours? Let's go across to Indranil Banerjee at Janata Dal headquarters.
The level of enthusiasm in this elections has been far less than the last time. Something seems to be missing. We have with us Mr. Jethmalani, who's been a very prominent and active member of the opposition for many years. And let's find out from him what went wrong, especially with the opposition dream. Mr. Jethmalani, especially last time when you came to power, I mean the Janata Dal government of the National Front came to power, there was so much of hope, but what went wrong?
Well, in the meantime, the electorate has developed a great contempt, an acute contempt for all politicians in this country and for almost all political parties, if you ask me. In the last election, they had a live issue, the issue of corruption in high places, an issue which touched their very life, their existence, their prosperity. They knew that the poor man's wealth was being stolen and stashed away somewhere else. And during the last few months, we have unfortunately Chandrasekhar, Subramaniam Swamy and others government.
But we see one very important thing has happened. The last time, the second most popular party was the Janata Dal, whereas this time people seem to be more fed up with the Janata Dal than with any other party.
Well, in a sense, Mr. Chandrasekhar was an offshoot of the Janata Dal. But in the history of this country, there has been never a more corrupt government than the government provided by Chandrasekhar, Subramaniam Swamy and company. And some of that has rubbed off on the innocent Janata Dal, and we are suffering for that.
Thank you, Mr. Jethmalani. Mr. Jethmalani feels it's the corruption and the things that the government that couldn't do that caused all these problems. And with that, this is Indranil Banerjee returning you back to the studios.
श्री जेठमलानी ने जो कुछ कहा वो ज़्यादा समझ में नहीं आया। मैंने काफ़ी कोशिश की कि समझ पाऊँ कि क्या कहा उन्होंने, लेकिन पूरी तरह मैं समझ नहीं पाया उनका कहना क्या था। जो दो बातें समझ में आई वो ये हैं कि श्री चंद्रशेखर की सरकार श्री जेठमलानी के मुताबिक सबसे भ्रष्ट सरकार थी, इसलिए मासूम जनता दल उसकी चपेट में आ गया। इससे ज़्यादा मैं समझ नहीं पाया। सॉरी, I couldn't follow.
Okay, Mr. Ajit Singh, let me get, you were about to say something when we went over there. If it's a choice of another election or supporting the Congress, number one, would you support the Congress?
Well, we are meeting day after. We'll
Party
decide
meeting
that.
day after tomorrow?
Yes.
Sorry. In an inter-party deal, inter-party deal, if at all a deal takes place or some kind of understanding, okay, let me use the word understanding. In an inter-party understanding, what all will be at stake in terms of people, places, policies?
First, let's wait for the results. Let's wait for Congress
So
to
that
elect a
sounds
leader.
like avoiding the question.
Let's
right?
wait
So
for
results
Congress
are
to
more or
elect a
less-
leader. Let's see what they want. Maybe they want to combine with BJP, who knows, or SJP.
But if they want to combine with you, I think let's have straight answers
Let's
to
have
straight
straight answers. I
questions.
think the story is out. It's
Well, if
picture
they
is clear.
combine with us, maybe they would put some conditions. Maybe they would want to decide on what
But you don't rule out the combination.
what common minimum program would be there.
I mean, there is something to talk about. You're not ruling out the combination.
We can't go to elections again.
And Mr. Surjit, are you ruling out supporting the Congress side? If
You
you're,
see,
if
good
you are
question.
so
There-
worried about the BJP,
You see, there are many important issues facing the country today, and they are so serious issues which require some solution and approach. For instance, threat to our unity of the country, threat to national unity. There is a question of restructuring the center-state relation without the problems of unity cannot be resolved today. Our economy is in a complete mess. We would like to know what attitude the different parties take on these crucial issues for which the people are concerned about. It is only on the basis of that you can decide about the approach. Our approach cannot be for a particular party only because that party exists. The question is, how are you going to solve those problems which confront the country today? It is on the basis of that we will judge, and we hope there will be some reconsideration of policy matters in various parties and some realignment also bound to come if the elections are held. Nobody is prepared to face the elections immediately, but if the elections are held, there is going to be some realignment of forces, different pattern on different questions.
How long will any deal / understanding be for?
What?
How long will any deal be for? कोई भी समझौता जो होगा वो कितनी देर तक के लिए होगा? जो पिछला तजुर्बा हमारा रहा है.
It depends on the policies, because earlier understanding, you see, the last combination was not based on policies, because it was a verdict against the Congress and for the non-Congress government. We came to understand, submitting to the verdict of the people, we decided to support the government of the Janata Dal, which was the biggest party in the opposition after the Congress. And similarly, we knew our basic difference with the BJP. In spite of that, we supported the government, and we had the understanding that we will not impose our manifesto, they will not impose their manifesto. On the basis of their manifesto, they should work. It did not work. That was a different situation, but now you have to draw some lessons out of that experience. People have drawn some lessons and forced you some lessons. That is why on that basis
Mukherjee, you are more aware than anybody else that the economy, the country has got a lot of major problems, as Mr. Surjit has just said. Therefore, whoever comes to power has to take some very major tough decisions. Is a government that's not got a solid mandate, that's not got a major majority, that is in a slightly fragile position, is it going to be able to take these tough decisions?
Precisely, I was trying to respond to that aspect. Perhaps you were emphasizing on only one aspect of the formation of government, that is the numerical strength on the floor of the House. That is important. But it is more important, the government of the day will have to take care of certain very basic economic issues, and for that we require to take some hard decisions, and we shall have to work very hard to put back economy on rail and to diffuse social tension. It is not merely the question of economy or the balance of payment crisis or shortage of foreign exchange or high rate of inflation. Social tension is to be diffused, law and order situation is to be improved, threat to secessionism is to be checked, and at the same time we shall have to put the economy on rail. Therefore, numerical strength and numerical support is important, but that is only one part in the formation of the government. If a situation arises, as it is likely to be, I do not rule out that possibility, because no party gets clear absolute majority. There must be some sort of understanding or consensus in respect of certain majority.
Tough decisions. Yes.
मेरा आखिरी प्रश्न जोशी जी आपसे है, छोटा सा सवाल, छोटा सा ही जवाब. ऐसा लग रहा है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए ये प्रस्तावना है एक किस्म की. आप इसे सेमीफाइनल अगर हम मानकर चलें आपकी पार्टी के लिए, तो अगले जब भी चुनाव होंगे, हम ये उम्मीद करेंगे कि 5 साल बाद होंगे, जब भी चुनाव होंगे, तो भगवान राम के बाद अगला मुद्दा क्या होगा?
देखिए, हमारा मुद्दा तो देश पहले और देश बाद में है. हम ये हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग नहीं करते. हम तो जब से बने हैं तब से आज तक सिद्धांतों के लिए और एक स्पष्ट संदेश को लेकर चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं, राजनीति में काम कर रहे हैं. हमारा मुद्दा तो हमेशा से एक ही है. राम इस बार देश की पहचान को सिग्निफाई कर रहा था.
If you put the country first, I'm sure all of you on the panel do. Can I just ask one quick yes or no question to all of you, which I think all the viewers would want to know? When a country has to take major tough decisions, would all of you be willing to consider a national government? Consider it. I mean, I don't want...
well, this is a question which has been debated and discussed by almost all parties.
Would you be willing to consider it?
No, in case of war, only a question of national government arises. Normally, a government belonging to a party or a coalition should function.
Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, would you consider a national government?
National government, to my mind, is some sort of misnomer, unless there are identity of the views on certain very broad issues. But the political parties who are fighting elections today, they have divergent views.
So you wouldn't consider a national?
For instance, I can just tell, like, we can never go with BJP, because during the entire last 40-50 years, we have fought against BJP, unlike Mr. Ajit Singh, who said that we may go to BJP, we can never go to BJP.
It's a question of putting the country first. Mr. Surjit, would you consider a national government?
That question, you see, we have outrightly rejected that question. That is not relevant in the today's situation, because threat to national unity is so grave, with totally divergent opinion with the BJP is holding, dividing the different communities in the country. We cannot have any government with such party. So that is why that question doesn't arise out of that.
3 no's to a national government, Mr. Ajit.
You should probably look for a coalition.
A coalition of all parties or
only like-minded parties, only which can work together.
We have 4 no's there.
इससे पहले कि हम ये कार्यक्रम समाप्त करें, एक नजर मुख्य समाचारों पर। बिहार में जनता दल का जोर, महाराष्ट्र में कांग्रेस आई का दबदबा, राजस्थान में कांग्रेस आई और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की टक्कर, तमिलनाडु में अन्ना डीएमके की हवा, बंगाल में वाम मोर्चा दोबारा से छा चुका है। आप सबका धन्यवाद और अगला चुनाव बुलेटिन हमारा होगा 11:40 पर। तब तक के लिए हम आपसे इजाजत लेते हैं। नमस्कार।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।